Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to get a job at MAC. So I know like MAC isn't that I don't know, poppin' anymore, but I still wanted to make it because it's still like one of the top and few places that makeup artists can get a job at, where the artistry matters. I know that there's a lot of videos on YouTube about like the same thing, like how to get the job at MAC and their experience and stuff like that, but the reason I wanted to make another one was because I feel like everybody's experience is different and everybody lives in different states and stuff. So I live in the Chicago area, well, more in the suburbs, but I'm close to Chicago. So that's why I kind of wanted you guys to get my perspective on things and how I see it. And I feel like a lot of the videos aren't as new either. Like some are from like a year ago or 2 years ago, and then like way further than that. I don't really see any like recent ones. I got like my notes here. I wrote down some tips, and also I'm going to be talking about my experience and like how I got hired. I think first I'm going to talk about how to get the job at MAC. So some tips. I would say that when you are applying at MAC, that you can either obviously apply in person or you can apply online, but most likely they'll tell you just to apply online, so you might as well just like do that first. Know your background info on the company. Now, I watched a lot of YouTube videos myself before I applied, and they all said this. And honestly, like, I could say that I didn't really use it, like all that background info, but I would say just learn it just in case, because you really never know. Who knows? You might get asked that question. Like, do you know the history behind MAC? And it's really important because you want to educate your customers that you get from MAC too once you start working there. So another thing I would say is to be confident. So I'm kind of going to go more in depth with this when I talk about my experience about getting hired, because being confident is one of the things that got me hired in the first place. Okay, now this is another big tip, is to be very extrovert. I am the total opposite. I am not an extrovert at all. I get really shy, and not that I don't like talking to people, because I do. I like getting to know people. I like making new friends. But I'm like a homebody, and like I like my own space too. I'm more of like, I'll just wait till like they come to me type of person. But like you can't do that on this job. I would say I'm like a totally different person when I'm working. I'm obviously still myself, but like in an extroverted way. Honestly, just like fake it till you make it. I have to be more talkative. I have to go up to people. I gotta start the conversation. And when you're doing makeup applications on people, you have to know how to talk to them. And sometimes you get clients that are introverted as well, so you have to like break the ice. You have to be the one that's talking, probably like impress them if you know about Viva Glam, because you will be saying a lot about Viva Glam when you're working there to other potential like customers, clients. So you really do need to know about Viva Glam. I feel like you need to be prepared to be thrown to the wolves. I don't know if it was just my location or what, but I mean, I've also heard stories from other artists that when you start, like, they don't like slow down for you. Like, you're kind of just like thrown. So much anxiety working there because like everything is so fast paced, but honestly, like, I got better. Like, I'm gonna say that it did teach me to multitask and to learn how to manage my time. They don't really like spend the time to like baby you. You gotta learn where all the makeup is being placed so then you can grab it for customers. The products at the same time, you gotta learn how to use the cash register. Like, there's just a lot of things, and it's just, oh my god. I would say that's one of the things, like, oh my god, like it was really hard for me. But honestly, I can say like I'm so much better at it now. Like I'm like, like fast paced now. Another tip that I would say is to practice your skills. Learn how to do makeup faster so that they are impressed. When I was freelancing, like before MAC, it would take me like an hour and a half to do people's makeup, and that's just like such a waste of time. I now can do like a full face in like 45 minutes. I think the reason it takes me so long is because I'm such like a perfectionist, like everything has to be perfect. If you have worked in retail before, then you might be a little better at this other skill, which is like customer service. So I would say it's like a really important part of the job. I'd say it's probably the most important because you got to know how to talk to people. I didn't have a retail job before this job or like working in makeup at all. Customers were pretty happy with me and my clients about how I treated them, and some would even like tell me like, oh my gosh, you're like the nicest MAC girl like I've ever met. Another tip I would say is no Instagram makeup. So around the time I was hired, it was 2018, now it's 2020, but I feel like a couple years ago Instagram makeup was like, you know, the thing. I feel like now it's kind of toned down a little bit. Like people want like natural makeup, they want natural glam, like that's what's in right now. I noticed that I was doing a lot of like Instagram makeup on like soccer moms and stuff like that, and I don't know what I was thinking, but like as I was like working more there, like I stopped doing that. You gotta know how to like accommodate to people. Always like show them your Instagram handle because they do like creep on you. Like even when I was already like hired at MAC, when they were hiring new people, like they would creep on their Instagram, try to find them on Instagram if they didn't provide it or anything. So that's what I'm saying, like for real, like post on Instagram or like start posting on Instagram, like whatever, but like put your work on there for sure. Well, on to my experience. So the way that I got hired at MAC is obviously not going to be the same way you're going to get hired at MAC, or the people that made other YouTube videos, how they got hired at MAC. Everybody's experience is different. So for me, I applied online and I had finally had the guts to do it. I was just so scared, and then I got an email from Estee Lauder companies because, you know, they're owned by Estee Lauder. They emailed me to do an interview online. I was like so nervous, but they give you a couple days to like do it, so like you don't have to do it right away. The duration of the interview was 25 minutes. Just ask you questions online through the interview process, and they just ask you like basic questions, but also questions like about makeup. So one of the things that my assistant manager had said when I was working at MAC, like way like months in working there, that the reason that I got hired was because I looked confident. That like there was like a bunch of girls that applied for that position, and the reason that I got it was because I looked confident like in my answers and everything. And I applied for 2 positions because there's 2 positions open. So one was like an 18-hour permanent position and one was a 12-hour permanent position. I got a call from the 2 MACs that I applied for asking me if I could do an interview with them in person. Yeah, I had the interview with my manager, and it was just like basic, honestly like basic interview questions. It wasn't really like related to makeup that much, but I did bring my portfolio. I also had my resume, I think, with me, but I definitely had my portfolio, and she did look at it. I don't think it was required, but I think it kind of showed her my work, you know, so then she felt more confident of my work and how I am as an artist. And I remember I was like stressed, like I already had the job. It seemed like she really liked me, so she said that I made it to the next step. So there's like steps in the interview process because obviously like you're working at MAC, like it's not just anywhere. Like they gotta make sure you know your stuff. They gotta make sure that like they're hiring, you know, people that know how to do makeup but also know how to talk to people. And so they sent me to the regional trainers, and that was in downtown Chicago. My position was in like the suburbs, but I had to go to Chicago downtown and like make an appointment basically to do a group interview. And I had to bring a model too. I brought my best friend Alejandra. I went downtown and I'm like preparing for a group interview because that's what they told me. But when I got there, they said that they didn't have any groups that day. So I literally just like was by myself in a room with the trainer and with my best friend. When we got there, they had all the makeup like lined up, had my model sit down obviously, and then I was just standing and she told me that I just had to pretend like I didn't know her, and then she said that Alejandra, my model, could pick a scenario. So Alejandra chose something like easy because like, you know, she didn't want to make it hard for me, like doing like a smoky eye in like 30 minutes because, you know, I'm being timed, I'm nervous and stuff. So she chose something natural. It would be better to use like certain products for multi-use, get easier on yourself, because like you're so worried about getting that person done, because in that moment like you're like so nervous. Felt like I was so rushed, and I actually went over time too, but like that wasn't a big deal since I was the only one there. But I think I went like 10 minutes over. But I just made sure I was like talking all the time. And if you run out of things to talk about what you're doing. Show them, grab a mirror. So she's obviously like listening to my conversation and taking notes and, you know, critiquing me, because at the end she does like tell you things you need to fix or things you need to work on. But everything turned out good. The makeup came out nice. And you gotta make sure you know how to sanitize your products. When it comes to like powders, like eyeshadows, like face powders, blushes, bronzers and stuff like that, make sure you're wiping that down with a tissue first, to get the first layer off before you start applying it with brushes on your model. As far as like foundation, you get like a dish tray, so then you can like dip into there with your brushes and concealer and stuff. So just be hygienic, know how to do that, and always put a tissue underneath your products. Don't let it hit like just the table or whatever you're having your products at, because they look at that too. And your neatness, make sure it's neat, it's all organized in categories, like your powder and your foundation and your primers together, and then also put like your eyeliner and your mascara together, you know, like create little sections, like be really neat. Don't be messy. I think that was one of the things they critiqued me on too. So then I had to wait like I think like 1 or 2 days. It was pretty fast, but I got a call from my manager saying that I got the job. When I started, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about the products. I mean, obviously I've heard of like Pro Longwear Foundation and Studio Fix. You learn on the job and you go to this basic training that like kind of teaches you all those products, and that's when you first start working there. I didn't get to do my basic training till later on because I got hired at like around like Black Friday time, and they didn't have like basic training at that time. Like I had to wait till the spring I think to do it. So I kind of just like learned on the job. Like I would just like study a lot and read about it and test it on my hands and stuff. So for MAC, you don't work on commission, you actually work just hourly. So regular pay, they pay really good. I don't want to talk about how much because I feel like I don't know if I should. I still get the same pay now that I converted as a on-call artist. Yeah, I'm an on-call artist now, and I can do as many hours as I want to, as many that are available. So it could be like a freestanding store, and it can also be like ones that are in the mall. Just ask if they have any hours available, but the only thing is you don't get the perks, like you don't get the discount, and like you don't get to go to classes that they have like every 6 months, which tells you like the reveal of like their new products and stuff. They're called Update. So yeah, you just get to play around with new unreleased products. One of the few cons too is that when you're working as a permanent artist, obviously you don't get to choose like your hours. It kind of does suck because you gotta work weekends, and I think that's just with any retail job honestly, but like it just sucks because I literally never had like a Saturday off. When you first start at MAC, most likely you'll be an on-call artist unless you get lucky and get a permanent position. I mean, it's not like it's impossible. Like I was able to. I don't know if I'm ever going to be a permanent artist again. I mean, right now I'm in school for the next like 2 years, so actually no, I think I have a year and a half or less. You do get a daily goal when you're working there. You have to make a certain amount of money. I mean, nothing really bad happens. Nothing bad happens if you don't make that goal. But if it's like consistent that you're not making a goal, then that's telling them that you can't do your job and you can't be a good like salesperson basically. So you could lose your job, but they would like have to talk to you and stuff first and like kind of warn you. There's times where it's like more slow, like slower months than the others, so like that won't be held against you either. So what's kind of cool is you get a $200 like, they call it EMS, when you're working there. So every 6 months you get $200 like to spend at MAC, which honestly, like, it's not a lot of products if you think about it, because like their stuff is expensive, but it's kind of nice because you can like, you know, get free stuff for your kits, like your makeup kits when you're freelancing and stuff. But I know managers and like assistant managers, like they get a little bit more. I forgot how much more, but they do get more. I don't know if it's different for other states though. But there are certifications too at MAC. I only got 2 working there because I was only there for a year, and it kind of takes a long time to get them. I think like the very last one is fashion show certified, and I really wanted to get that one, but obviously like it takes like a long time to get that one, I've heard. That's pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any questions, you could comment down below and I'll answer them for you guys. Like I said, even though the products aren't as popular anymore, you do learn a lot as an artist here. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.